I'm Catherine Pack, Senior Fellow and Deputy Director of the Australia Chair here at CSIS, and I'd like to welcome you to another edition of Pacific Policy Pulse. I am joined here today by Andrew Shearer. He is the Australian Director General of National Intelligence. Thanks for joining us.
It's great to be back at CSIS.
So what brings you to Washington, D.C. this week?
Well, the main purpose of my visit, Catherine, is to link up with my new counterparts in the US intelligence community. It's far and away our most important partnership, and the opportunity to establish relationships, get to know each other, and recommit ourselves to the important work that we're doing together and that we've done together as intelligence communities for decades now.
Speaking of some of the interesting intelligence matters that might be happening at the moment, the Chinese have been quite active in the Pacific over the last month. We've got the MOU with the Cook Islands, which is a country in free association with New Zealand. And then, of course, the Chinese Navy flotilla sailing around Australia, conducting live fire exercises and causing the rerouting of multiple commercial airliners from New Zealand and Australia. What is your read of this? Is there some sort of underlying message that the Chinese are sending to us?
Well, I think, Catherine, we've got to take the big picture into account here. The PLA has been embarking on the most substantial military build-up we've seen, certainly since the Second World War, possibly ever. That is producing a palpable increase in their level of military capability, but also just numerically the size of the People's Liberation Army, and in particular its Navy, is very significant now. We've been watching the PLA Navy deploy further and further from China over the last decade or so, building that capability to project power out of the first island chain beyond the second island chain. But this most recent task group that circumnavigated Australia was unprecedented. It came further south in Australia's direction than we've ever seen before, and we think it's part of a much more regional build-up of China's maritime presence, and it's intended to signal that China intends to contest the maritime domain much more broadly than it has hitherto. Our assessment of the Pacific focus of this exercise is that it was intended to be provocative towards Australia. It was intended to signal to us that China intends to continue projecting maritime power into Australia's immediate neighbourhood. It is looking to establish a sense of normalcy about having a Chinese military presence in our immediate region, looking to probe our reactions and assess how we respond, and frankly looking to shape Australia and our immediate region.
Certainly a lot to be tracking these days. Ending on a little bit of a lighter note, what book are you reading these days?
So the book I just finished, Catherine, is called All His Spies. It's a book about Robert Cecil, written by Stephen Alford, and it's about Elizabeth I's legendary spy master and diplomatic advisor. What I like about the book is it's about Robert Cecil's efforts to build an espionage network to defend England both from internal threats and a daunting array of external threats in the Tudor period.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on Pacific Policy Pulse.
It's been a pleasure. Thanks, Catherine.